Chelsea are considering a January move for Crystal Palace midfielder Adam Wharton. Let's get into it.
The last home game of the season, this club are not defensive about it. Come on!
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another transfer news video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash up the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. And today's video is about Crystal Palace midfielder Adam Wharton. And apparently Chelsea are considering a January move for the midfielder. Obviously, we had it in the summer that Chelsea, towards the end of the window, the news that we'd added Adam Wharton to our list of targets of 2026 long-term targets. We were first linked with Wharton back when he was at Blackburn Rovers. Obviously, he went to Crystal Palace and kind of the rest is history, as they say. He's really pushed on, developed into a top midfield player. But according to Team Talk, Chelsea are looking to step up their pursuit of Wharton in January, considering a January swoop for the England international. Now, let's dive into it. Let's see what this is saying. So Chelsea are intensifying their pursuit of Crystal Palace's midfielder Adam Wharton as they look to bolster their midfield in the January transfer window. The move comes as the Blues seek to address ongoing injury concerns surrounding Romeo Lavia and add depth to their engine room under Enzo Maresca. Lavia has shown flashes of brilliance, but has been plagued by persistent injury issues. Despite Maresca's high regard for the young midfielder, the manager is now exploring options to reinforce his squad, with Wharton emerging as a prime target. The 21-year-old has impressed with his composure, vision, and ability to dictate play. Sources indicate that Chelsea view Wharton as a long-term investment, with a potential move initially targeted for the summer of 2026. However, a January sweep is not being ruled out, as the Blues aim to act swiftly to secure a dominant midfielder capable of sharing the load with their current options. Obviously, Chelsea will face competition for Wharton. You know, Man United, Liverpool, Newcastle, all set to be interested in him. Wharton is viewed as a more feasible option, with Chelsea confident they can negotiate a deal with Crystal Palace. Now, it's not a surprise that Chelsea are being linked with midfield players, because that's generally sort of what happens. Chelsea are always linked with players constantly throughout transfer windows and just in general. The need for a new midfielder, I don't know, it doesn't really make much sense to me right now, given you've got Lavia, Enzo, Caicedo, Asugu, and Andre Santos. Obviously, Dario Asugu's out for 12 weeks, and there are question marks, rightly, around the future of Romeo Lavia to some extent, because this is his third season now, and the guy has barely stayed fit for the 2 seasons that he's been here. He's not kicked a ball for us yet this season, hasn't featured since the Club World Cup game against Benfica last 16 back in the summer. He is back in training, but he missed the Brentford game. He's not going to be available for the Bayern Munich game. Maybe he returns against Man United or potentially Lincoln in the Carabao Cup, but you don't know what Romeo Lavia are going to get. And you don't know how fit he's going to stay. And right now, the Sugu out and doubts over Lavia's injuries. We've got 3 midfield players, and that's not really enough. I also feel that at the end of the season, depending what happens, Chelsea are potentially, in my opinion, going to make a big midfield sale next summer, whether that's Lavia, whether that's maybe Enzo Fernandez going to Real Madrid or something like that. I'm not saying these things are going to happen. I'm just saying that I personally feel that there might be a big sale in midfield next summer, in which case, if there is, then a move for Adam Wharton would absolutely make sense. 21 years of age, ticks the boxes in terms of Chelsea's recruitment. Brilliant midfield player, would suit the system, would fit in well. He had a great game against us on the opening day of the season in that goalless draw with Palace, and he ticks the boxes. You know, he would be an excellent addition for Chelsea. Obviously, it'd cost an absolute fortune. Obviously, there would be interest from other clubs. It depends on how much football Wharton's looking to play in his next move when he does eventually leave Crystal Palace. Is he going to go somewhere where he's going to be a guaranteed first team, or is he going to go somewhere where he's going to have to compete for minutes, but he'll be at a top club and, you know, he's got a chance of winning trophies, becoming more of an established player within the England setup? These are all things that he will need to take into consideration. I would love to see Adam Wharton at Chelsea, but it needs to make sense. The deal's got to be right, and there's actually got to be space in the squad for him to slot into. And right now, there isn't. So for me, at this point in time, this is a bit of a non-starter. Yes, I'm sure he's on Chelsea's radar. Yes, I'm sure Chelsea are interested in him, but I still don't seriously see Chelsea making a move for Adam Wharton in January. And even next summer, I honestly suspect he'll have a number of other clubs interested. And I don't see Chelsea being near the favourites to land Wharton. I don't see Chelsea being near the favourites to land Wharton at all. I don't even think we'll seriously go in for him. He's just a player that's probably on the radar, and there's not really much more to it than that. Lavia, it's an interesting one because you could see him potentially leaving, and Chelsea and be cutting their losses if he has another injury disrupted season. You could easily see, Enzo Fernandez could maybe go to Real Madrid, and then Chelsea buy Adam Wharton as a replacement for Enzo Fernandez. That's another potential possibility. But the race seems to be heating up for Wharton. You could see him go to a Liverpool. You could see him at a top club. Look, if that club's Chelsea, then it makes sense, providing one of the big players leaves. But one of the big players has got to leave. So that, for me, right now, there are still question marks around it. But he would suit Chelsea. He's possession-orientated player. He's progressive passing, line-breaking passes. There's no need for him personally. But that rumoured interest should certainly be viewed as a threat to the likes of Romeo, Lavia, and potentially Enzo Fernandez as well. So, yeah, let's wait and see how this one kind of pans out. I think there'll be big developments, maybe not in January, but certainly next summer, and Wharton will be the next big player to leave Crystal Palace. I suspect this will probably be his last season at Selhurst Park, and then he'll make a move to a big Premier League club, and we will wait and see which one that will be. But right now, Chelsea have got the midfield options. They've got depth in midfield, arguably the only part of the squad where there is genuine top quality depth. So, Wharton would need to see a clear pathway for him at Chelsea and a clear opportunity to get regular first team minutes. Even if Lavia left in the summer, right, Wharton came in, he'd still probably be behind Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. Yes, he'd play, but, he wouldn't be a guaranteed starter. Again, it depends. Is he looking to be a guaranteed starter? What does Wharton want for the next stage of his career? There's still a lot of moving parts here, a lot of unknowns. So, yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye on this one, but as things stand right now, I think a move to Chelsea for Adam Wharton is, I'm rating this as highly unlikely. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Wharton to Chelsea is likely? Do you think Wharton would be a good signing for Chelsea? And who do you think would leave in order to make space for him? Because as I've said, I think there could be a big sale in midfield next summer. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the situation, guys. Make sure you smash up the like, subscribe if you're new around here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you lot again in another one soon. Up the Chelsea, and we're out. Peace.